Now I think I'm going to add a little annex to this hangar here. These are all just kind of things I've seen on different airport buildings, and so I'm just kind of going with it here and just putting those type of things on this hangar here. I'm just going to pull this out a certain distance, maybe 10 feet, you know, whatever, and how about just 20 feet this way, and let's bring that in. I'm going to raise this. Oops. That's one thing I didn't do. I need to realign my axis here. That's better. And redo this. So I'm going to go out 10 feet, 20 feet, and back in. Okay. And then maybe raise this. I don't want it quite so high. I'm just going to set it to 7 feet, and then I'm going to lower this by maybe 1 foot. Alright. And then maybe I'll put a doorway right here. And so I'm just going to first of all say it's so far from this line here, so maybe say it's 6 inches from that line. Make it so high. I'm going to go with 6 feet. Whoops. Try this again. 6 feet. 6 apostrophe. Alright. Make it about 3 feet wide. And then to add a little bit of help with the depth, I'm going to push it in maybe 3 inches. Alright. And maybe I'll put a window or two right here along the side. So I'm going to first just draw a line down the center here. I'm going to look for the center of this line right there. Draw it across. I'm going to find the center point here. I always like finding center points. It really helps find some good reference points in your model. Alright. Just make sure when you draw reference lines like this that you delete them later so you don't make your model all messy. Alright, I'm just going to go 1 foot up. I need to align my axis again so I can get that red axis going the right way. Okay. So I go 1 foot this way, 2 feet down, 2 feet, 2 feet, okay. I'm going to delete the lines inside here. Now here's one thing I do. Since I'm going to duplicate this window, I'm going to select the window by double clicking it, or how many times you have to click it to select it all. And I'm going to say right click on it and say make component. Alright, I'm going to call this win, just abbreviate it and say win underscore 1. Make sure the replace selection with component box is checked and say create. So I'll show you why I did that in a second. If you're not familiar with components, I'm going to go ahead and just delete that line. Okay, now if I double click on the component, I can edit it and go inside. I'm going to delete that line. And I'm going to hold down Control, or just press it, then click and go back, move it back 3 inches, and then delete this first plane, and that gave us some depth here in our window. That should be good. So now I have a component. I'm going to cut a hole over here and about halfway down this line. So I'm going to do 1 foot. You know, you might like to use the this so you can just draw a square, but I find it's just as easy for me just to draw it all out with a pencil. Alright, just draw lines. 2 feet, 2 feet, and okay. Now I'm not going to create another window here. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to delete those lines. I'm just going to delete that box there. Well, now you got a big hole in your building, but now you can just hover the move tool on one of the corners, or a good spot where you can move it easily. Okay, I'm just gonna press Control, then click, and move my component over to that hole I put there. And see, now I have 2 windows. And now the reason why I made the window component is that whatever I do to one component, it's going to do to the other its duplicate. So let's say if I put a color on this window, I'm going to say just do a dark color here. It's going to do the same in this window. And when you're actually texturing, you actually have to manipulate the texture you're trying to apply and move it around and stuff. It really saves a lot of time only having to do it once for one part of the building and not several times for the same thing. So that's a real time saver. You know, I think I'm gonna give this little side a little overhang as well. I'm just gonna raise this roof 4 inches, pull this down 6 inches. You know, I think I could have done this for my done it this way for my other roof, and I would have actually had I realized I should have been. Alright, I'm just gonna right there. Continue this line. I think I'm going to align my axis here. Alright. Just going to continue that line. Whoops. And then push this across. Get away. Okay. Clean that little triangle up there. Alright. I'm gonna draw a line here. Pull this out. How far was that? 6 inches. And pull this out 6 inches as well. Alright. I'm just gonna go through and just kind of check for just any lines that I could just delete and don't need. So like this one here, I'm just gonna delete that. And I think I did a pretty good job of keeping my model clean. I don't see any stray marks or lines or anything like that. I'm gonna leave that line there for texturing purposes. I might go ahead and delete this line. But anyhow, so now we have the basic hanger blocked in and a little annex on the side.